Hi, my name is Mark Edwards, and today in this short video I'll tell you a life-changing story about how I figured out how to easily generate insane amounts of energy for the past 2 years. I'm talking about a simple device that can be used by any family around the world and can even change the course of the entire energy industry. Over the past year, 17,000 people have also already successfully used the very same technique to get over tragic milestones such as hurricanes, snowstorms and floods. Based on technology that we use on a daily basis, not only can it generate enough power to last through long, harsh winters with temperatures below zero, but it can ameliorate your power bill all year long. Now, I'm sure you're already intrigued and you want to know all about how this system works, and honestly it's like nothing you've ever seen, and in just a few minutes from now you will be outraged that you've ever paid a single cent to Big Electric. So you absolutely need to watch this short presentation today while it's still up. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to have this free presentation online, so watch this right now while you still can. But before we continue, let me tell you who I am and how this all got started. As I mentioned before, my name is Mark Edwards. I'm a 56-year-old geography teacher from Memphis, Tennessee. Now, folks who live here know that high energy bills are somewhat of an issue, and we've been fighting them for years. And we've never liked paying through our noses for simple things that everybody should be able to afford, like using the electric appliances without restriction. However, we simply settled, thinking that's the economy, or maybe it'll be better next year, and month after month after month we were struggling not to fall behind on the bills. All that until the winter of 2015, December 29th, Tuesday, the absolute worst day of my life. Now, the news warned the population about the rising of the freezing waters of Mississippi, but we never had problems. We were miles from the river and we were safe. But this time it was different. Now, around 7 p.m., the news warned everybody in the area that the river had risen like never before, and after just a few minutes, all the lights went off. Now, I immediately thought it was just a simple blackout, and I went to check on my wife and my 2 daughters, and they were fine, for the moment. See, the Mississippi River had broken out of its bed and flooded the surroundings. It ripped down hundreds of power lines around our area, and we suddenly found ourselves completely without power. Now, my wife and I discussed about driving to my parents in Lexington, Kentucky, but we were looking at a 6-hour drive in the night. So we decided to wait for the power to just come back. Big mistake. Huge mistake. See, the house was already getting cold, and it was getting cold really, really fast. Night came and there was still no power, and I tried calling the electric company on my cell phone to find out when the power would be restored, and all I got was their pre-recorded message saying they were aware of the problem and it would be between 48 and 72 hours before the power would be back online. Quickly, the temperature in our house reached around 50 degrees. Now, around midnight, I went to check on my family, and what I saw made me just freeze in my tracks. My wife and my daughters were lying on the bed, embracing each other, shivering with cold, muffled in these thick blankets, and you can't imagine how I felt not being able to protect my family. I rushed over there, I wrapped my arms around them as much as I could in a futile attempt to give them what little body heat that I had. And then my 5-year-old Lisa, she said to me in this little shivering voice, "Daddy, I'm cold and I'm hungry. I wish we had a warm soup." I just burst into tears. It was the most devastating moment of my life. I felt like my whole world just collapsed. And I felt powerless because there was nothing that I could do to protect the ones I cared for most. And I simply felt furious, outraged at the fact that I knew that I was the only one to blame for getting in this situation, and worse, getting my family in this dangerous situation. I was furious that I was completely dependent on the electric company to power my home, and furious about the fact that for so many years I let it slide and thought maybe it'll be better next year, while those money-sucking electricity mobsters bled me and my family dry. That was the moment I realized I was at the end of my rope. And I swore to myself I would never put my wife and 2 daughters in a similar situation again. We left for my parents the very next day and we came back some time later. And I immediately began researching every single energy alternative I could find. I made it my sole purpose because leaving my family's well-being in the hands of electric companies, well, that clearly wasn't an option anymore. Not only did their power lines always seem to go down in unexpected moments, but their prices had been smothering me for more than a decade. And I imagine the CEOs going to the bank and cashing my hard-earned money, maybe even laughing while they're doing it. So I immediately began to look at the problem from every angle to break the chains that Big Electric had around my family. There had to be something. Now, frustrated, I created a list of what I felt my new source of energy should really be. Now, firstly, it needed to be cheap and easy to obtain or build. Easy to move. If I needed to bug out of town, it needed to be something that I could easily carry with me. Can use a reliable source of power. So if there is no sun, no gas, and no wind, it should still work fine without interruption. So I considered buying a heavy-duty generator. Now that's certainly a reliable source of power, so I looked pretty deeply into this option. However, when I started to consider the costs, I realized I was looking at a minimum of $1,000 investment to get a really high quality generator, not to mention the fuel usage. And with the fluctuating gas prices, listen, try powering your home full time with a generator. You'd need to use about 90 gallons of gas per month, and at a cost of around $250 or more to do it. Plus, it's not like I wanted to have a 90-gallon bomb around my family in my house. So this option was off the list quickly. So next I considered using solar energy. Now, I've heard the solar industry boomed over the last few years, and solar panels really can be very effective, but maybe you've heard, but here in Memphis, Tennessee, it can be overcast for a month straight during the winter, and being dependent on solar panels becomes a bit of a problem. Not to mention, installing professional panels would have cost me an easy $11,000, and I certainly didn't have that kind of money to invest. So the idea of buying a DIY solar kit crossed my mind, but when I saw the cost of those, I changed my mind. Plus, I did some research on the subject, and I found out that such kits rarely produce even 20% of the energy they advertise. So I had only one option. If I wanted to make sure that my family never went through such an experience again, I had to create my own solution. It had to be something cheap and fast and easy to build, because I definitely didn't have any technical skills to build complicated devices. You know, being a geography teacher doesn't really offer those kinds of skills. So I started looking into every other solution that could bring me the security for my family. Many sleepless nights passed, and I was getting really tired of surfing the internet for a simple solution. Then one day, Kate, my wife, reminded me about my late Uncle Jack and his research in the energy field. Now, unfortunately, he passed away in 2004, but he worked for an electric car company as a pioneer in this field. His life goal was to save the planet and offer our children a better life. As a professional researcher in this domain, he had the resources he needed to do it. And setting his goal to help humankind, as he said, he dedicated his life to discovering new technology. And he did a thorough research. I remembered him telling me how electric eels can be used to produce huge amounts of energy. And maybe that sounds a little bit strange, but there are some fish farms that are completely energy independent. However, that really wasn't a solution for electric cars, and clearly it wasn't for me either. The investment was just too big, and I certainly wasn't going to take care of who knows how many eels all year round. Not to mention the danger I would be putting my family in. So while that option was off the table, I knew there had to be a solution out there somewhere. And that's when I remembered about the incredible technology that he had pioneered. He told me about a spinning principle. Now that's still being used in today's electric cars. everybody, including the top engineers at the company, were shocked to see how easy the principle was. That very moment, I realized the answer I was looking for was right in front of my eyes. You're probably thinking there's no way such a simple thing like the multiplication process could hold the key to energy independence, but the initial tests have been pretty promising. Let me explain the working principle as I later discovered it. Now, as you probably already know, in nature there is the multiplication principle that translates into inducing a small amount of energy in a system and multiplying it with the spinning principle. That's the real secret. But what you may not realize, however, is just how much energy such a principle can produce. Now, the true secret of this energy is that it is so simple to obtain. And the fundamentals are so easy, yet few know this secret, and it is rarely used. So if properly applied, it can produce insane amounts of energy. This energy is used to recharge the system when it's not being used at its full potential. So basically, it charges itself while providing power for whatever you need. That was the solution for my problem. Now, without wasting a second, I took some time off and told my wife and daughters I was going to visit their aunt. I kissed them goodbye and I swore to myself I would not come back without the solution. I went to Norman, Oklahoma and talked with Amy, my uncle's late wife. She let me in my uncle's old study, and after many hours of going through dozens of projects, I found what I was looking for. I skimmed them over and I realized that they held the key to take total control energy-wise. But what I didn't know exactly was how to capture this unique energy and how to build the device to meet my needs. Now, I struggled to understand these plans for about a week when Amy suggested calling Jason Newman, my uncle's best friend who had worked with him. She told me he was one of the best engineers at the lab. So I called and I told him my story and asked if he could help decipher the plans my uncle had left. Being an enthusiast in this field, he agreed. However, I insisted to set some basic rules. The device had to be incredibly cheap to build. I was already over my budget with the research, the trip and everything. It had to be very easy to build so that I could explain it to my wife and kids to build if, God forbid, something were to happen to me. So we started working on the project together. Now, as a guy who studied energy sources with my uncle, Jason had a pretty good idea of the science behind how to get the most energy with this principle, and the plans clearly showed that. The first models we made were either too expensive or too complicated for me to build. We had some heated arguments, mainly because of me being stubborn. I needed that device to be cheap, and I needed it to be simple. And in the end, after several attempts, we finally came up with a prototype that seemed to be what we were looking for. The design was brilliant. We only used 3 wooden wheels, a hard cylinder, some belts, and 2 cogwheels. Combined all together, these materials cost us $106 at Home Depot. However, I'm sure we could have found the parts at a junkyard for free if we weren't in such a rush. But the most important part is that it was incredibly safe. No fire, no dangerous fumes released, so we had zero worry about creating a dangerous explosive reaction. You simply had to place the components in the correct position. And because of the ingenious way the device was designed, it generated an extraordinary amount of energy. Now that energy was then captured and converted into usable electricity, at the same time powering itself without wasting any energy. Even more, the system was actually incredibly easy to hook up to any device, even if you're terrible at building stuff and have trouble plugging in a DVD player to your TV. So after building the device, the next step was to test it out to see if it really worked as well as we thought it would. We connected some batteries for a few seconds to start the device, and we just could not believe our eyes. The system reached the optimum rotations, and because of the brilliant design my uncle had come up with, all of that energy was immediately captured, providing a steady, robust supply of electricity, turning on the light. At the same time, the generator was self-supplying itself without the help of any external power. We hooked it up to a bunch of appliances and had the rooms lit up to see if it held, and not only were all the lights on, but she was running the refrigerator and the television no problem whatsoever. In truth, I almost couldn't believe how simple all of this was. Now, missing my family, I rushed home with the plans. And I started building the device, following the steps and using most of the stuff lying around in my yard. After about 3 hours, I built that device and tested it. It ran perfectly. Now, for the rest of January, we used the generator and consumed the same amount of electricity that we always did before. But rather than pay $190 for our energy bill like we did in the past, we were running on belts and wooden wheels. That meant zero cost. And all it had taken me was about 3 hours of my time and about $106 in initial costs, and my family was safe. Now, I loved the fact that I was teaching my daughter such a great lesson about not being dependent on government or any corporations, and I felt so relieved to know that they would always grow up in a warm, safe, and comfortable home. Now, that was about 1.5 years ago. And since then, my family and I saved more than I ever thought possible. And the generator holds true both in the coldest winter months, when the temperature can get down into the negative teens, as well as in the hottest, muggiest days of summer when the thermometer soars past 100. Plus, using the same principle to make a few of Jason's witty tweaks, I managed to juice even more power out of the generator. Enough to never worry about being energy dependent ever again. Well, before long, my friends and family members were begging to know my secret. And when I showed them the simple generator that Jason and I created, a lot of them had a hard time believing something so small could be creating so much energy. But after I'd given them the simple building instructions and they'd followed them and created their own power plant, and in about the time it takes to watch a football game on TV, they became believers fast. Because when the person who used this amazing invention was hooking it up to electrical appliances, the results were always the same. An abundance of easy, clean energy that they could use to power anything. Using electricity without second thought, blasting the AC during the summer, running their televisions, their kitchen lights, their garage doors, their most heavy-duty appliances. Soon my friends were telling their friends about my little miniature power plant. Until finally, the number of phone calls and emails from people asking me to share the blueprints for my home power plant became too overwhelming. Kate put her foot down and told me I had to find a better way to share this one-of-a-kind energy system with the world. So I went to work rewriting out the blueprints, the materials list to show construction process in simple steps, and then the power efficiency guide was created. Now, the Power Efficiency Guide is a step-by-step guide showing you exactly how to create your own home power plant today, cutting down by 60% or more your electric bill in the next 30 days. Now, as you already know, this system was specifically designed so that anyone with one hand can build it, even if you have difficulty plugging your charger into a cell phone. In fact, you will be shocked by how few steps there actually are and how short the list of materials you'll need to build this is. Inside this system, which I'll tell you how you can access in just 1 second, you'll see exactly what those steps are, along with a full materials list that will help you build the system from start to finish. Even though it was not cheap for me to conceive this system, I put a lot of time, money, and effort into it. I think it's extremely valuable. Plus, because the files are something you can download to your computer, your tablet, or your smartphone, you'll be able to follow them anywhere, even if you decide to build your system down in the garage or even outside. You'll also be given clear guides and written instructions detailing exactly how to connect your system to any appliance. All of the materials you need to build this will cost $106 total. But like I mentioned, you can probably find about 90% of those materials for free in your garage or at a junkyard. And additionally, you're also going to be given a full list of tools, and you'll see exactly how to use each one to build the device so that you have an unlimited power supply inside your house. You will never have to pay such high bills to the greedy electric companies again. And on top of all that, the power efficiency guide is virtually maintenance free. The generator will constantly produce the energy. So there's no fire, there's no burning, no dangerous gases being released, and no intense mechanical processes that can break down. Instead, you just simply start the generator and enjoy a fully powered home. To date, more than 87,000 families have used this exact same system to permanently ditch their energy companies. So with all of that being said, I want you to pause and think about this for a second. How good will it feel to never have to stuff the overflowing pockets of the greedy energy companies ever again? To never have to go to your mailbox and feel that deep pang of anxiety when you see your monthly statement? That you're about to take $160 or more of your hard-earned money and send it off to a company that couldn't care less about your family's safety? How happy are you going to be when you join the ranks of the 87,435 other freedom fighters who have already decided they are fed up with being price gouged every time it gets hot or cold outside? What will you do with all that extra money? Will you put it away towards your children's college education? Will you maybe take your family out to a nice dinner once a month at that 5-star restaurant, the one your wife looks at every time you drive by? Will you use it to help pay off your mortgage faster? In just 10 years from now, having this system in your home saves you at least $14,000 and probably closer to $24,000. So I want you to think about what this kind of savings will mean for you. I mean, of course, there are other options out there besides this one. You could try to power your home via solar, but the price is a big concern. Can you really afford to pay the $10,000 or so it costs to have a system like this professionally installed? Or even $800 for a DIY solar kit that requires a degree in engineering just to set it up? And how much sunlight is directly hitting your home during those short, cold days of winter? Now, another alternative is to buy a generator, but remember, we already crunched the numbers on that. And even at $2.50 a gallon for gas, permanently running your home with a generator, it would cost around $250 per month. And if you really tried to use one as your main power source, you'd be lucky to get a few months of usage out of it before it started breaking down. So why would you do that when you could get the power efficiency guide today and be able to take total control as soon as tonight? See, this is my promise to you. If you use these step-by-step blueprints, the illustrated instructions, and the materials cheat sheet that I'm giving to you, you will create an ultra-low maintenance, ultra-efficient power generator that works just as well as your current power source. And given all of that, you're probably wondering what you need to do to get started, right? And of course, what the investment cost will be for the full guide, the blueprints, the materials list, and everything else that's included. Well, first of all, let me just be clear about it. There is no system like this available anywhere else in the world. The Power Efficiency Guide is the result of a considerable expertise in the energy field and the contributions of two brilliant engineers. And beyond all the technical innovations that have gone into making this simple and easy to use system, you also need to understand that this is about more than just energy. See, this is about keeping your family safe. And the reason that I am so passionate about getting the Power Efficiency Guide into your hands is that I never want you to go through what I went through. I want to give you the opportunity today to make sure that your home is filled with warmth and love. That you have the extra money in your pocket to give your family everything that they need and want. From school clothes to vacations to special dinners at lavish restaurants that you and your loved ones deserve. Saving an extra $1,400 to $2,650 a year is a pretty big deal, especially when you can do it all without ever having to send another dime to the same energy conglomerates who are getting rich off your family's financial struggles. Ultimately, this is about taking action today so that you never have to worry about your electric bills for as long as you live. Because once you've taken 3 hours to build this system, it won't matter if the grid collapses, electric prices surge, there's a natural gas shortage, or oil prices skyrocket. The energy multiplication principle will never get old, generating clean energy, and you will be permanently insulated from electricity costs for as long as you live. 87,435 honest and deserving families have already made the investment in the Power Efficiency Guide, and the regular retail price is $149. In my opinion, that's an incredibly fair price, especially because you'll save a bare minimum of $1,250 in the coming year, $12,500 in the next decade. But while I do think $149 is a complete bargain, I also know just how badly a lot of families are struggling just to stay afloat. I've been there too. I've held my shivering wife and daughters in my arms and felt weak and powerless. I felt like I had a gun to my head, like I was being forced to choose between going broke trying to pay my utilities or putting my family's safety at risk. That's why, for a limited time only, I'm going to cut the investment price for the Power Efficiency Guide by more than 75%. Instead of paying the normal retail price of $149, which is what more than 87,000 individuals have already gladly done, if you act today, you're going to get the entire Power Efficiency Guide for just $49. But if you want to take advantage of this rare discount, you must take action right now by clicking the big Buy Now button directly below this video. As soon as you click that button, you'll instantly go to a secure checkout page where you'll complete your order. Now, it takes all of 5 seconds, and once you hit enter, you'll immediately get access to the system. You'll be able to view the complete guide, the blueprints, the illustrated instructions, and the material lists. And you can do it right from your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet. Now, you'll also be able to download all of the files. You can print out as many copies of the blueprints and the materials list as you'd like. Now, on top of your instant access, I'm also going to make sure that building the system and running it is one of the easiest, simplest, and most pain-free experiences you'll ever have in your life. And that's why, when you take advantage of this significant discounted investment price today, you're also going to get unlimited customer support for life. Out of the 87,435 families who have already made the investment in the Power Efficiency Guide, less than 10 of them have had an issue getting their new generator up and running. So while the chances that you'll need this support are slim, I want to make certain that if you do, I'm right there to help you. So after you've completed your order, you'll be given my personal email address to answer any questions at all. And if there is even a split second where you feel confused or that you don't know what the next step is, or you just want to know if you can substitute one part for another, which a lot of times you can, simply send me an email and I will personally work with you to get your question answered. There is only one thing standing between you and a savings of $160 a month or more on your electric bill. And that is the yellow button you see below right now. But if you're still feeling unsure about the Power Efficiency Guide, then there's one more thing you should hear about. And that's my 60-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee. And here's how it works. So right now, you just need to say maybe to the Power Efficiency system. Click the yellow Buy Now button you see right below and claim your instant access to the guide, the blueprints, the materials list, the unlimited lifetime support, and everything else that's included. And you're going to be shocked by just how easy this is to build. And you will be amazed by just how quickly the Power Efficiency Guide reduces your electric bill. But if for any reason you're not blown away by the results, just send an email for an instant refund. Say you only save $80 a month and you wanted to save $130, or you just change your mind. You'll get an instant refund with no questions asked. It saved us more than $2,000 in energy costs since first building it a year and a half ago. And even as you read this presentation, it's saving more than 87,000 families an average of $1,600 every year. Right now, you have the chance to join all of us in the fight to take back our energy freedom, and you have a full 60 days to try before you buy. But aren't you going to ask yourself why you didn't at least try the Power Efficiency Guide? You could get furious every time one of your kids or grandkids forgets to turn off the TV. Or end up fighting with your wife because one of you forgot to turn off the lights again. But why on earth would you make that decision? especially when all you have to do is click the Buy Now button below right now. Do that and you'll have full access to the Power Efficiency Guide, the step-by-step guide, the illustrated blueprints, and the materials list. You won't have to send a single hard-earned penny to Big Electric for as long as you live. You'll receive unlimited lifetime support, and you'll be covered by a full 100% money-back guarantee that's good for 60 days. I think your decision is pretty obvious, but I can't click that yellow button for you. So go ahead and invest in the Power Efficiency Guide right now. Join the 87,435 thrilled families who realize there is a better, simpler, and cheaper way to power their homes. And I'll look forward to seeing you inside that members only area in a few moments from now. Thanks for watching. Still here? No worries. I know that sometimes it can be scary to take that first step, and you probably have a few questions. So to help you feel fully confident in the investment that you're about to make, let me take a minute or two to go ahead and answer some of the most common questions that I get asked right about now. Firstly, how does the Power Efficiency Guide work? Well, the device uses the endless power principle used to make the electric cars constantly charge themselves from the wheels when not being accelerated. It's a unique concept that can be used in every home. Secondly, what's maintenance like? Well, there's no maintenance whatsoever because the system powers itself continuously. It's a self-sustainable device. Third, is the Power Efficiency Guide hard to build? Not at all. When Jason was helping me to come up with these designs, I was adamant that this had to be incredibly simple to build. Now, there's very little physical labor, so even the elderly or those with a bad back or other ailments should have no problems in making it. So as a result, there are just a small number of materials required, and you should allow about 3 hours total for construction. Now, if you're still feeling nervous, remember, the instructions are as clear as day. Simply follow them and you'll build it. It's really that straightforward. Plus, if you do get confused for even a second, don't forget to take advantage of your free lifetime support that's included. And number 4, what's included again? Well, inside you'll get my comprehensive guide showing you exactly how to build your own power efficiency guide. I made this guide with an over-the-shoulder approach, so it's basically like I'm there in the room building it with you. You'll get all the blueprints, full color step-by-step directions, and the full materials list. Plus, your investment today will come with unlimited lifetime support. This means you can email me anytime you have a question and I will promptly respond to you. Number 5, is there a guarantee? Well, yes. Once you place your order, you have a full 60 days to check out the guide, the blueprints, and the instructions. Just follow along, and once you start building, your system will be up and running in around 3 hours. And if at any point you're unsatisfied or change your mind about this, just send me an email and I will refund your entire investment. No questions asked. And finally, I'm ready. How do I get started? Well, simply click on the Buy Now button that you see below. You'll then be taken to my 100% secure checkout page where you'll enter your order information. After you've completed your order, you'll have access to my special members only area. From there, you can instantly download everything. Remember, you have a full 60-day money-back guarantee here, along with unlimited lifetime support. So go ahead, seize your energy independence now, clicking the yellow button that you see below.